Hey there, I'm Dryw Lee. My boss, Todd Dornfeld, gathered a bunch of neurodiverse creators to walk them through the process of animation, using pre-used assets, and some storyboarding, some script writing, and compiling everything into a nice little package. They brought to life what you see on your screen right now. Of course, we are going to have to talk to them about this too, and ask them about their experience through the whole process. And believe me, it was a long and arduous journey, but it all worked out, and I think you guys are going to like this. Again, I'm Dryw Lee, and welcome to the tip of the iceberg. Beginning. So to start off, I thought we would sit down and ask Todd why he started all this and what his end goal was for Tink Tank and these animation festivals.
I was inspired to start Tink Tank by working with artists on the autism spectrum and seeing that most people were very focused on giving them extraordinary skills, and yet I didn't see people giving them the extra extraordinary skill of writing and creating for themselves.
I have autism. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 15. I never really got the help I needed. But now I have friends who've shown me how strong I really am.
And I wanted to create a place where they could be totally focused on that. Well, my personal goal for the workshops and Tink Tank is to produce as much content as we produce. So I just have this love for being prolific, and if I can inspire that in my artists, then I love it. And personally, it makes me, I feel accomplished as well every time we finish a new project here. It's just another project on my own belt as well, and I really like that because I'm a creator. For the workshop, our goal is that everybody finds that within themselves. That they find a little taste of that they can go and they can express themselves constantly over and over again, and that there are people like ourselves that are here to help and assist them in understanding how they can do that without the obstacles that do get in the way of most people.
And it's someone who makes a simple idea really complicated is a bad storyteller. And you have a knack of making really complicated ideas and emotions really simple and understandable. Mm-hmm. And that's a real gift. I just wanted to say that to you. I wouldn't be blowing smoke about it. I think you can tell a story, you can invent characters to tell those stories in a pretty magical way.
And we're here to eliminate those obstacles. And those can be emotional, those can be technical, those can be creative.
And actually, this wasn't Todd's first rodeo. He's been working on this for a long time now. Last year's project was the Mama's Ducks program. With just like this year's program, he gathered a bunch of neurodiverse creators to create animations done by hand, written by themselves, and some even I have part of. But this year, it was going to be different. Like last year, the artists were tasked to write their own story, but unlike last year, they've been tasked to use pre-used assets to make their own animations. Of course, some people made their own assets for their animations, and even one of the students in this workshop did it all by herself by hand.
It gets difficult at the start because I'm not used to the programs, but then I realized this is just like flip a clip if you use the right things. Like if you figure it out long enough, hard, smart, then it's just like flip a clip or any other animation tool they use on your phone or your iPad.
And to some people, it actually did come quite naturally. Of course, now we had to find out how they got here, right? Discovery. Now we're going to ask the students how they got there and what inspired them in their project. And believe me, it seems like everybody had an interesting story on how they got there.
I had this counselor. She wasn't like my high school counselor, but she was this person that worked for the school district who would help teens get jobs. And she told me there's this really good program called Yes I Can, and it helps you get jobs in the industry. And I said, oh, okay. So I signed up on that, and I did Yes I Can. And then I believe Todd was one of our speakers one day, and I think he presented the opportunity to me in my class, and I signed up, and that's how I became that Tink Tank.
I actually got it from Yes I Can from one of my teachers. So my teacher said I was one out of the 4 kids who got chosen for Tink Tank Animate, so I got very lucky.
My brother joined it, and then my mom wanted me to join them too. But also because I'm on the spectrum, and a lot of people there are on the spectrum, and I wanted to feel where I want to join a group where I belong.
Basically, I learned about Yes I Can ever since I was in middle school. Back in 2015, if I recall. It was through like a family friends thing, but ever since I started college, it was now a program thing.
For the Yes I Can, my mom informed me on that program, and I was excited as it will help, as I believed it could help me get to my future goal. For the Tink Tank, that was from the Yes I Can, since like last year they provided like a notice saying like, all right, for animators or filmmakers or storytellers or whatever, like if you want to be part of the Chili Chicks, sign up now. I was a little hesitant to join, but I decided to come to join after some encouragement from my friends and family.
I got connected to Tink Tank through Yes I Can, so there was a chain there. I'm not really sure. I just sort of came up with an idea. I looked at the assets they gave us to work with and just sort of came up with something. I don't really think there was any specific inspiration for it.
Just stuff in my head, motivation, just trying to be noticed on the internet for who I am.
I was trying to think of a story pretty quickly, and I had 2 of them that came in mind, and one of them was a love story with 2 penguins, and another one was like this underdog story. And I wrote both of them out, and I read which one I liked better, and I chose the underdog story. And I think probably liked it more because it's less cheesy and it's more relatable. I think everybody has an underdog moment in their life.
It was a movie based on seals. There's one seal that had enough with sharks eating them, so he rebelled against them, and others followed.
So then, after asking the students how they found Yes I Can /Tink Tank, I thought I would ask the teachers, so to speak, on how it was like working with them.
Well, one of my favorite things about working with people on the spectrum is that they already seem to know what they want to say in their stories, but they maybe don't know how to say it. And so that's the most fun as a producer, if somebody already knows, and that way if they see a few options, they can go, that one. That's what I want to say.
We have a lot of fun. It's cool because they I don't know, people offer different perspectives, different ways of looking at things, and as an artist, I appreciate that.
Yeah, as a mentor in Tink Tank, I have plenty experience of working with students with spectrum. They're all unique and have their different personality, of course. So the method to treat them is also very different from one to another.
And after talking to the teachers, I thought I would talk to Kirsten Fitzpatrick, a member of Yes I Can. I thought I'd ask her what's it like working with neurodiverse people or people on the spectrum, being on the spectrum herself.
I would say, as far as my ability to identify needs or understand certain accommodations or what somebody's struggling with, I maybe catch on to those things a little bit quicker than, say, somebody that's, typical, if you will. I think, and, this is just my own personal observation, but my communication style seems to be a little bit more well received. As those of us on the spectrum, we're a little bit, we're black and white. We say things how they are. There's no kind of fluff or you have to kind of interpret what the person's trying to tell you. I'm pretty straightforward, and I think, of course, in a kind and supportive way, but I am very straightforward with everybody I work with, and I think that my students appreciate that. I understand that, for instance, if somebody gives an instruction for something, I can read that and see where that could be misinterpreted, because I too have a tendency to take things literally. But, I've been on the planet a little bit longer than the people I work with. So I've kind of learned how to navigate and get around those things and interpret that. It's almost like learning another language. I've become pretty proficient over the years, understanding neurotypical communication. So, that really comes into handy where, we may have a student that goes, well, I don't quite understand what this other person's asking me to do or telling me, where I can kind of, translate, if you will, what that person's trying to communicate. And I found that it really is an asset in regards to our services.
Because I got in touch with Kirsten, I thought I'd also talk to Brett Laberman, another member of Yes I Can, who has prior experience with neurodivergent people.
I think working with individuals on the spectrum is a blessing. It's definitely opened my eyes to seeing things differently. And there's always, I'm an English teacher, but when it came to like math, there were always like 2 ways to solve a problem. And there was obviously like, this is the way we want you to do it. But then there were students who were like, well, I did it this way. And I guess there's nothing wrong with solving the problem the other way, as long as you're getting the right answer. So I think it's great to work with individuals who think differently and have diverse, innovative style brains. I think that brings a lot to the table. I learn daily working with individuals. I find that there's lots of talents with people on the spectrum, and I try to tap into those talents. And then, partnering with an organization like Tink Tank Animate is great because I can really cover the career skills that they need. And Tink Tank Animate is like one of those organizations that can tap into the creativity of my students.
After that, I thought I'd go back to the Tink Tank instructors again to ask them if they had any neurodivergent family members or friends to help them relate to the students.
So I went to college with someone on the spectrum that's my friend. So it's not my first, but it is one of my only ones.
Well, it's funny, when I started working with Tink Tank, I knew of only a few people, friends and family and people that were on the spectrum, but it's only that I didn't know it. And once I started working at Tink Tank and I'm telling people that I was working there, suddenly I knew lots and lots of other people, not only at Tink Tank, but someone else would say, oh yeah, so-and-so is on the spectrum, or so-and-so. And I found it to be kind of comforting in a way that there's a much bigger community that can help each other out. There's more resources, and people don't have to be isolated just because they're on wherever they're at on the spectrum. They don't have to be isolated. Mm-hmm. There's lots of us out there. So that's my long answer to, like, now that I know, you guys are everywhere.
Honestly, I don't feel like that much difference because I have several. I knew several friends with spectrum around me, so I get used to it like long times ago. So I don't really feel any difference.
And I thought I was on a roll, so I thought I'd ask Todd too.
God, that was so beautiful! Oh my God, that was so beautiful!
So I asked this question a lot if I have family members on the autism spectrum, and I do not. I don't have one. I have a few family members with cerebral palsy, but that is not autism. But it all goes hand in hand with neurodiversity. And I've known people that are very close with that are schizophrenic, which is also a form of neurodiversity. Mm-hmm. So neurodiversity is more of really what we're focused on and interested in, assisting and supporting.
And after that, I thought I'd ask people how the writing process was for them.
I don't know. I don't really have a writing process. I just come up with ideas that I'm motivated on doing. And I would definitely say I have a really good imagination. I can close my eyes. I can see how the scene would look like from a audience perspective, see if it makes sense. Like if I'm watching the movie myself.
It was honestly just rather difficult because it was my first time ever writing a story.
Writing process was very easy for me because I do a lot of writing in my free time, so I'm very used to writing. I wrote a whole 1 hour story, which was supposed to be, which I took parts of it and just, made sure that I got to my story and got to my point, and it did. It turned out very well.
I just sort of wrote up a basic. They had us write up like a little short story type thing, and that to get the idea of what was going to happen. And so I just wrote up the general outline of what I wanted to do, and then animated it.
Yeah, it was easy. The writing process was easy since I have a passion for storytelling, and being part of the Chili Chicks really helped.
But of course, there were some students that were more on the artsy side, much like Anya. She favored the art side more of the project more than writing.
I am more of an art person. Like, I already have 2 different versions of my Industria novel, and none of them are complete.
Segueing into that, I thought I'd ask the students how the animation process was like for them. Seeing that Anya herself pointed out that she used programs very much like it, I thought I'd ask the other students how it was for them.
Well, it wasn't hard per se, but I would say it's more time consuming. Since but with the help of Todd and some of my past experiences working on Adobe Animate, I think the animation process turned out well.
The animation process was all about timing and about making it look professional and perfect too, in my own way.
It was pretty straightforward for me. Because I think I was doing the basics of the basics. I didn't draw my own scenes. I'm not a really good drawer. So I just used the materials that I had and just, I just moved it around and just created it.
Basically started with just getting the keyframes down, going from pose to pose, getting the things where I wanted them to be, and then doing the in-betweens afterwards.
It was more complex than my previous experience. I was just using the characters that was given to me without any changes.
Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
This is not gonna do it. Okay. Oh, come on!
You're
driving me crazy.
Tell me.
I need the penguin, and I need 2 clouds.
You need 2 clouds.
And even though I didn't get a lot of responses, I thought I'd ask them what the hardest part of the process was.
Basically just trying to find out how to properly make the penguins learn how to walk, or properly animating the penguins and the characters in the animation in general, because I didn't particularly know how many frames I needed for each step, because I've always thought 2 singular frames could mean a step, but that's just too fast. So
I don't think any of it was especially hard. Once I had the idea in mind, it was just sort of slow process of just working it out, making it happen. I've been doing sort of animations type stuff for most of my life now, so I kind of have a general understanding of how it goes.
I think the hardest process was just getting everything right. For my project, mainly with the opening scene, as it took a lot of trials and errors to get that opening scene good. But I think once I got that fixed up, everything went fine.
The hardest part was making the sounds, because I had to literally get the right voices and make sure everything was right.
For freedom! Come, brother, let's see this place. Okay, brother, let's look over here.
But in the end, it was all worth it, and I got all the voices done.
I guess the resources I had. Just trying to learn and try and learn really quickly and just use the resources I've had. I think I could write better stories and maybe make the film I made a little bit better if I knew how to draw or if I had more resources, but I'm happy what it was. I think it was good.
And obviously, there were issues that were ran into. So I thought I would ask Todd what he did to keep them going.
Positivity. We encourage everyone through just ultimate positivity. We want everyone to feel comfortable as much as we can. And if we see them struggling, then we want to find something that they wouldn't be able to have to struggle through so that they get through progress and they feel positive about themselves.
With the help of Todd, they got it worked out.
Like the cloud on my thing, I want to change it to where it's horizontal, not vertical.
Okay, so you got the right tool. You got the right tool because you have the transform tool. Go to the corner of it. Go a little farther out to the corner. Oh, you see where it turned into a circle? Go a little farther away from the corner. Oh,
like
yeah.
This?
There it is.
Now move it.
Ah, okay.
So, and you're gonna lasso around it, but not all of it, just a part of it, and then go like this, and then go finish the loop, and you hit delete, and it starts to cut it out. Can you do that?
Yeah, I could do that.
When you're drawing in Animate, especially with this pen tool that I have you using, which I'm not so sure I should have had you use, but I think at the same time it's right. So you see how there's this hole here?
Yeah.
You won't be able to color this easily because of that hole. If you
I don't really color my animations.
You don't want to color them?
Not really.
Well, if you don't color them, they're transparent anyway. But do you want it just black and white? Or do you want it black and white and gray?
Black and white and grays.
See, gray, you know what we call that? Coloring. It sucks. Unfortunately, coloring black, white, and gray, because all this is transparent, right? If I change this color of this stage, look at that. It's not white, it's whatever I want. And if I put anything behind it on another layer, I'll see through it. So what I'm actually gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you use this brush instead because it draws more like the way you're drawing and it won't crash your computer.
And after they were done with their animations, I thought I would ask them if they wanted to do anything else with their animations, or if they thought it was fine, to basically ask them if they had the opportunity to go back and change anything, would they?
No, I kind of like it the way it was. It looks perfect the way it is.
No, I think I liked it for the most part. I'm sure if I watched it again, I could nitpick and I might say this scene, that scene. But I say overall, it was good for the tools that I had and what I was trying to do.
I think everything that I did, I think everything's fine the way it is. So yeah, I won't say there's not a lot of things I want to be different.
I'm not sure. Maybe put more detail into the backgrounds. So I think the backgrounds are pretty lacking, honestly.
Well, the only thing I would have thought of changing at least was like at least changing a little bit of the shape and change like some color at least to match the penguin I'm wanting to play it. What I'm gonna play as like the fairy penguin. If I were to change anything, if I was in that part of time again, I would have just like changed a little bit of the shape and changed some of the color.
I have no idea. Add like a fighting scene or something. Make it more like that. That maybe like one of those animes.
I've never seen the work they put into their projects. I then thought I would ask, who was their biggest supporter throughout the whole project?
The guy that directed it, Todd.
Probably like my close friend, Veronica. She's there for me all the time, except for when she isn't.
It was Todd himself, as he was super nice, admires everything that I've done, even giving me tips and suggestions to my work, and overall making the animation process more fun. I think eventually I'm gonna join the Tink Tank as in an internship. So I know that working with Todd again will be fun.
I think my biggest supporter in just getting into the film industry, entertainment industry, following my dreams, has definitely been my family. I think they've put me in a place. They helped me get to where I am. They believe in me, and I just think, I think my family helped me a lot.
As far as Tink Tank, Todd has been the one I've been in closest contact with. He's been the one teaching me how to do Animate, how Adobe Animate works, and how to do all the things I wanted to do in it.
I'd say Sarah and I, the workers at Tink Tank.
And in the closing thoughts, I asked everyone if neurodivergent creators had more or less opportunities than neurotypical creators.
I would not say I have experienced any different than anyone else. No, like I feel like I've had it honestly a bit easier because most people don't have these connections that I've gotten to get into this thing. Like it's all on the merit of your work. If you've got a portfolio to submit, like I don't think I would have a job like I do now if I didn't have this. Like I feel like this has helped me a lot.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
It honestly just depends. In most cases that I see, they get more, but they got a lot of opportunities.
I don't know. I think that's a very much gray question because I think there's a lot of people in the industry who might be autistic or neurodiverse, but they're just not open. But I think some autism people are underrepresented.
Well, I would say they have neurodiverse creators. I know for sure they get less opportunities. I feel like those people in that area should be more noticed and so they can do big things, because once they do that, they could be positive role models for future inspiring people in that area and for the neurodiverse, and with that they can make it do big things too.
As someone on the spectrum, I feel like we don't really we don't always get a chance to express ourselves because we're always, discriminated for what we do.
I definitely think there should be more awareness for neurodivergent creators. I think there's lots of people who are in the industry right now and maybe don't even understand that they might be on the spectrum. I think there's very, very talented individuals who have great focus and have one thing that they're really, really good at. That can be in editing, animation, photography, special effects. I would like there to be more awareness because it opens more doors and makes it more fully inclusive for people who are like, hey, I'm on the spectrum and I'm talented and I want a job. I think there are a lot of people who probably don't come out and say straight out that they're on the spectrum and they're just doing their job. But I think the more talented and creative individuals who kind of come out and say hey, this is who I am, and I have a disability, but it doesn't inhibit any of my work and I'm still kicking butt. I think that opens up doors for future generations of creatives with disabilities.
Noticed more by the public. I believe that neurodiverse creators should be noticed more by the public. Absolutely. I don't, industry, asking for acceptance in the industry comes by acceptance from the community.
And what the heck? I thought I'd ask the teachers what neurodiverse creators could do to give them equal opportunities.
Yeah, I was thinking about this one. I was thinking that we all know ourselves the best, and you have to be your own advocate. And if you need something, people want to help you, but you have to make sure you voice those needs.
I think compared to like for example, just compared to me, I feel they're more easy to focus on something, and that's I somehow consider it as sort of as an advantage. Like they can, for example, when they're drawing, they can they can just keep focus and not being abstract by anything around them.
I think neurodiverse creators should really focus on whatever their strongest feelings are, because you can always add a technique. You can learn something about technology, you can learn something, a drawing technique, animation, even writing, lots of things, but you won't stick with it if you don't have a passion for it. So my feeling is always to start with the feeling. Like, go for that, because if you try and train in a whole lot of other things to maybe get work or something like that, but you don't have your heart in it, it's hard to stick with it.
This has been a great learning experience. Thank you all for watching, and this has been the tip of the iceberg.